Hey everyone, and welcome to another character breakdown for Ember. In this video, I will show you a little bit about the healer, what he does, and why is it that we make the choices that we did with him, and all of that. So let's just get started. Alright, here I am in ZBrush, and what I'm showing you is the low poly. This is the complete low poly that I finished, and there's a couple of things with the healers that we can talk about right now. So again, continuing with our stylized approach to every single character and to keep consistency, that's why you see the clothing so simplified and there isn't any type of fabric, any type of specific folds. I may have gone a little bit overboard with the folds down here, but he has a little bit of a tighter pants. It's not too much like Jack Savage, which is the melee character, but there's a couple of things that we decided with him. So he is supposed to be an ex-medical student, not after he was zombified. And one of the things that we wanted him to have is to showcase the player the characteristics of what he does. So he is a healer, and his healing powers come from within the liquid, the chemical that was injected into them, that's given them this power. So that's why, in order to kind of showcase this amplification, especially on him, we decided to, aside from the heart, which is, you're going to see this as a main theme across all of our characters, is the heart, it grows, and this is the main source of their power. He also has this bulb right here, which is part of kind of like what keeps his energy inside him. So because he is not a melee character, he's going to be a little bit more of a range, maybe like medium range, and he's also going to be healing. We decided that one way to go was with these bulbs over here, and it was a little bit of an inspiration in between Iron Man and Moira from Overwatch. So we got this little plugs right here where actually the healing part will come out. So he'll pretty much lift his hand and he'll start healing the other characters. The other thing is, well, he was wearing a lab coat when he was a medical student. All we did is I just ripped one. I didn't want to just have half of it because that doesn't make any sense, and I think this way it looked cooler. So the other things that I did, and as a character artist, this is something that I found out, and I know people may do it other ways, but this is how I do it, is separating your meshes just to define the details. So what do I mean by that? If you can see here, you can see that the bulb within his skin is actually another mesh, and so is the heart, and so are these spikes. I could have sculpted everything on one single mesh. However, to get this kind of look that it's just a different piece, I rather use a different mesh. I think it's easier for me to just use a different mesh so I can showcase the other pieces protruding out of his skin, as opposed to just sculpt it in the same mesh, because if I do sculpt it in the same mesh, then it's going to not only take me longer, but I will have to refine those details over and over to make them look like they are pieces coming out. So if whenever I'm doing things like spikes or anything like that, it's just a different mesh. For the hair, all I did was I extracted some meshes and I retopologized, and I just kept pulling and pulling and pulling until I got this kind of wavy hair. It's actually very easy, and this hair that's underneath is just sculpted hair. There's nothing too big about it. For this specific character, you can see, and this will be amplified probably in other characters, is the fact that you can see the inside. So aside from the usual bulbs that he will have and the veins from like the main source of power, he was probably dissected or experimented on his arms, and they got this little bit open, and that's why you can see muscle over here. There's a little bit of muscle over here, and same thing, he got maybe a huge scar over here that never healed, so you can see the muscle tissue underneath. Now, when it comes to the actual in-game mesh, which is what I have here in 3ds Max, this one's a little bit of a higher quality than Jack Savage. And the reason for that is because actually I'm going to, in the future, not too long in the future, but later on once we have all the characters and we're ready to kind of put a prototype together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade Jack Savage's geometry. I'm going to give him a little bit more geo to not depend on the normal maps as much. And the reason for that, and you can see that here in the part where it gets to the hard, like it's not going to be, I could have just retopologized this as to a flat surface just like the rest of the body, and the normal maps would have captured that completely fine. But the reason why I decided not to do that is because whenever we are taking close shots, it actually, the normal maps for these parts doesn't look too well, because again, it's just normal maps, supposed to be an illusion. So for those things, I think it's better to just have a geometry, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to up the quality in terms of the poly count. When I mean quality, Jack Savage was high quality for the kind of game we're making. I just decided to increase the amount of polygons just so we can get a better detail, like this one here. And actually there are places where I just made a compromise in between the two. So you can see the part where he shows muscle over here, actually did a bit of modeling, but I didn't model that completely just because I want this to be of a higher quality, but I don't want it to be completely super high poly, because the point of the game is that you are going to have a bunch of characters on screen. There's going to be a ton of animations, and again, the purpose of our studio is to put out games that the majority of people can play. So initially this is going to be on PC, and we want everyone to be able to play this game. So we don't want to make it so that you need the latest 2080 Ti just to play our video game. One of the things that I like about Blizzard games is that they are playable in pretty much any machine, and that's one of the things that we're going for. So that's why I tried to keep it low, but still kind of like making a little bit of geometry. I made one for the cheek here as well. I could have just gone and pretty much finished this cheek the same way that I finished the other one, and that would have saved me like one half of the face. I could have just symmetry that. It would have been a lot easier, but again, it would just be a normal map, and normal maps don't look good in certain angles. So it's not only about us doing the close-up shots, it's also about the presentation when you're in game. We plan to have the characters on the screen while you are in the screen selection, so it also brings a little bit more, and you're gonna take a closer look to the character when you are selecting it. So this is a little bit of just an improvement that we want to add to our game right now, instead of later on when we have all the characters and decide like, oh well, this could have been a little bit higher poly. I decided to just talk with Luke and increase it right now, as opposed to waiting it for later until we have all the characters. So from now on, you're going to see that all the characters are going to be pretty much this quality, and I'll show you once I increase the quality of Jack Savage. You'll see the difference as well. Alright, here in Substance, I just want to show you a little bit about some of the textures that we have. So around here, and actually we needed these textures to be done pretty quickly, so there are some improvements that I will be showing on my channel later on, but I just wanted to show you a couple of things about the textures. Is for one, we needed to increase the emissive of this, and what I mean by that is, what I did is just the emissive part, I made it darker. And actually, if we just go down here, this is the color map, and I made the emissive a little bit darker, and the reason for that was just because this guy is going to be highly illuminated. He's going to have a ton of emissive illumination, so I decided to do this part a lot darker. That way, when we increase the intensity of the emissives within the engine, it shows the actual color that we're going for. And the other thing that I want to show you, and as you can see, even though he looks very cartoony and very painterly, I added some material features to him So if you see, if I get close to him and you see the light reflecting on his skin, this way it doesn't look like it's just a straight up cartoon drawing. He will have some materials on him, and as you can see, as I move the light, you can see that he has different types of color around. It's not just a blue, and this is kind of achieved with different techniques that I use, mainly doing here in Photoshop and here in Substance Painter. So again, if I just go a little bit, you can see that there are the differentiations within the skin. It's a little bit different than the bony part. The bony part, it's pretty much just one diffuse, and there's pretty much no reflection on it because it's supposed to be a bone. Pretty much I wasn't going for anything else. And one of the things that I do is I don't do reflections on the emissive because that's just waste of time. The other thing what I did a lot of reflections was over here where he has the muscle part. So as you can see, that looks nice and gooey, as actual muscle should look like, because it's underneath the skin. And again, the reason for the roughness is just to give his skin a little bit more of kind of like to make it interesting, to make it a lot more interesting than just plain old highly rough channel. The other thing that I did was I actually put a lot of highlights on his hair, so the roughness is a little bit higher on his hair than it's on anything else, just because I want the hair to be reflecting of his light, of the light that he emits. And just to finish this character breakdown, as you can see, he is in a pose already. This is a pose that we chose for him for presentation. It's probably going to be in the character selection at the end, but again, he is supposed to be the healer. That's why I chose the usual like Christ pose look, whatever. And this is also on purpose. So when we present him as a character, we're also showing him the most important parts of him as a character, which are going to be his hands. That's where his powers kind of shoot up. This is what he's going to be using. Like if you played Moira in Overwatch, he's kind of going to be using his hands to heal. I don't know exactly in which way, because that's the VFX artist, and I haven't talked to Luke about that. But I know he's going to use his hands a lot to be healing. So this was one of the things that I thought about when I was making the post for the presentation of this character was like, well, he's a healer. Let's use kind of like the savior pose with the arms open, and this is a good way also to show the main source of his powers. So another thing that I did is he looks like he's kind of levitating, and this isn't something that we're going to do right now. I'm not sure what the extent of his power is going to be in the future. There are some things that we are talking about in regards of the characters doing in the future. Once we have them all set up, there's going to be certain abilities, and this might be one of them. So if you want to speculate into what this is, I cannot talk about it right now. But if you want to speculate onto what kind of ability he's going to have in the future, just leave it in the comments below. This should be very fun for us to read and see if we can pick up something that people will like. The other thing that I want to show is, one of the things when I like characters is, as you can see, he has a very stylized lighting situation. So the light that's coming behind him, it's blue, kind of like simulating moonlight, and the other lights that he has in front are very warm, pretty much resembling everything that he has. And now this is when I go to the other pose that we're going to use for one of our wallpapers. I'm actually going to turn this one off and turn the other one. So this is the pose that I chose for the wallpaper. Actually, I like him. It's when it's pretty close, kind of like reaching out in, and you can take this several different ways. He's kind of reaching out to either scare you, choke you, or transform you, or he's reaching out to heal you. That's why I like this pose, because he looks very menacing. He looks kind of like he can damage you, but he's actually a healer, and he's actually like the most level-headed character of all of them. So he he has this kind of like calm look to him, but although he's kind of menacing. So if you see a guy at night hand just stand in his hand and try to grab you with this, you might probably run away. But one of the things that I wanted to do with this post was to show that he's here to help, and hopefully everyone sees that once I finish doing the wallpaper. Alright, so that was the character breakdown, and it was a little bit shorter because I didn't have to introduce as much. On the next character, I maybe go into a little bit more in depth on what I do for texturing. I'm going to do a couple of videos about my style of texturing later on, so stay tuned for that in this channel. And just ask me any questions about the art of Ember Vein character related, because I'm not doing the environment, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can down below. Alright, so I'll see you in the next video.